Hey everyone, Mr. Happy here and welcome to WoW to 14 or WoW to XIV. Over the years I've had plenty of World of Warcraft players ask me several specific questions about Final Fantasy XIV in an attempt to determine if they should make a switch. While the two are very clearly the same style of MMO, there are lots of core differences in how the two function. This series will be focused on covering those differences so you can determine which game is right for you. In this video we'll be taking a look at the difference between crafting and gathering between the two titles. First up, let's cover World of Warcraft. In WoW, both gathering and crafting are classified as professions. They are then further divided into primary and secondary professions. Primary professions include herbalism, mining, skinning, alchemy, blacksmithing, enchanting, engineering, inscription, jewel crafting, leatherworking, and tailoring. You can learn 2 of those per character. The choice isn't permanent, so you can choose to drop one primary profession and pick up another. However, abandoning a profession resets your level and recipes learned. You'll keep specialties if you relearn the profession later, and you'll keep the items you may have crafted, but exclusive items like mounts will require you to reach the right skill level again. Then there are secondary professions. You can choose to learn as many or as few secondary professions as you desire per character. These professions include archaeology, cooking, and fishing. First aid is currently a secondary profession as of this video, but it's being retired in Battle for Azeroth and having its recipes distributed to some of the primary professions. As for the actual performance of professions, they're pretty direct. Gathering professions can gather materials from matching resource nodes in the world or off the bodies of certain fallen foes. As you gather materials that are level appropriate, your skill with these professions raises, leveling up the profession and opening up higher level nodes. The items are mostly materials used for crafting, but consumables, quest items, minions, or even mounts can also be obtained under the right conditions. Mining even has a sub-profession that resembles crafting called smelting, which allows you to turn ores into metal bars. Crafting professions are also very direct. You select recipes from your list of learned recipes. If you have the materials for those recipes, you can just outright craft the item with the push of a button. Crafting level appropriate items raise the profession's skill level, unlocking higher level recipes. Recipes themselves are learned from NPCs and from actual recipe items that can be obtained out in the world. These recipes range from minor items or consumables all the way up to raid quality armors and even mounts. Now, as of Legion, it is possible to skip a lot of the old expansion profession leveling if you're a high enough level. For example, gathering any herb in a Legion area, even at profession level 1, will still work, and then you can level off of those new herbs. Crafting professions can raise their maximum skill level by using certain scrolls as well, and then they can level up with the newer recipes, so you're not forced to treadmill through the old stuff. Crafting professions do get some unique perks depending on which you learn. In Legion, there are select items that can be upgraded in item level that vary with each profession. These items are obtained via a specific questline for each profession. Some professions also get unique bonuses. An example would be Alchemy's Mixology passive, which doubles the duration and increases the effect of select flasks and potions that the alchemist himself makes. Now, as this video is being made before Battle for Azeroth, it's worth mentioning some changes coming in the next expansion. Professions will no longer be leveled linearly from 1 to cap. Instead, you'll have skill levels for individual expansions, such as Cataclysm Alchemy or Battle for Azeroth Alchemy. You can choose to level them all, or just level a single expansion skill level. So let's start with the pros for WoW's profession system. First, it's simple, and that's a good thing. Players approaching most of these professions will find it easy to just pick up and get going. Performing the professions themselves is also simple. You just press a button and you'll gather or craft the item. This entire experience is very new player friendly, though of course with several expansions worth of items, it may require some Google searching to find the exact direction to go. With the upcoming changes in Battle for Azeroth, this problem will mostly be remedied for players simply wishing to craft the most recent recipes. Professions are also incredibly unique, especially those that provide character-exclusive benefits. The non-exclusive recipes also hold constant market value, giving players plenty of options for earning gold or assisting fellow players. Even the secondary professions can stand out in their own unique ways. Archaeology will have you searching all over the world for rare artifacts, something I myself used to enjoy back when I played. The cons are few and far between and mostly depend on preference. One could argue the simplicity of professions makes them generally uninteresting to pursue and perform. However, due to the unique benefits they provide, which can include stats used to tackle dungeon or raid content, players almost feel forced to pursue them even if they have no interest in the professions themselves. Characters being limited to only 2 primary professions can also be seen as a con, but let's be honest, it does make a lot of sense. Limiting profession access per character at least restricts a bit of what enters the market, keeping that market healthier. And also, obviously having character-exclusive benefits, if you could do them all, everyone would feel like they have to do them all. It could just be a bit bothersome to make multiple characters just to craft. Now, let's move on to Final Fantasy XIV, where crafting and gathering is a lot more complex. In this game, crafters and gatherers are treated similarly to the combat classes. A player can learn every crafting and gathering class on a single character, mostly preventing the need for multiple characters. They all have their own level, stats, resources that resemble MP, things like CP and GP, and even equipment that must be used to perform their respective roles. The equipment even uses item level and gem slots for crafting and gathering, that players increase as new equipment becomes available. To top it off, they even have their own skills, and I don't just mean 1 or 2. While gathering does get some skills that unlock certain nodes or increases gathering chances, crafters get a slew of skills that they must learn to use to properly make items. When you select a recipe in Final Fantasy XIV, you'll be brought to a menu that lists your progress, quality, and durability. Your goal is to fill the progress bar while also raising the quality as much as possible before running out of durability. If you fill the progress bar, you will receive the target product. If you fail to fill it before running out of durability, you will fail the craft and lose the items used in the attempt. It can get pretty complex with entire forum posts and YouTube videos dedicated to proper crafting rotations to not only complete crafts, but to finish them with the highest possible quality. They are basically like combat class rotations, except for crafters. Most crafters also gain other benefits. These include the ability to repair gear above 100% durability anywhere in the world, the ability to break down items into basic materials through desynthesis, or even perform materia melding on themselves or other players' gear. They can even perform forbidden melding, which allows them to meld more materia than there are slots available on gear, up to a maximum of 5 slots. The downside is that materia can be destroyed if the meld is unsuccessful, and it only works on gear that is crafted, not raid or dungeon gear. There are also some limitations on what materia can be used for forbidden melding. Let's back up and talk about gathering a bit too. When gathering in 14, you'll approach a node for your equipped gathering class. You can't be on minor and actually hit a botany node at the same time. Interacting with that node reveals several items you can choose to gather, though items you've never gathered before will be listed as unknown until you successfully retrieve the item once. The node itself has a health bar that decreases with each gathering attempt, and so long as it has health remaining, you can continue to gather more items. Each item also has a chance of success and a chance to retrieve higher quality items listed on the node. It's still fairly straightforward, but maximizing rewards from each node results in more overall items being gathered. On top of that, there's another type of crafting and gathering called collectibles once you reach the first expansion's quests. Items that can be crafted or gathered as collectibles are exclusively used as NPC or quest turn-ins and cannot be used in other recipes or sold on the market board. They can be broken down into basic materials as well, but you cannot use the item directly for anything but these few tasks. The rewards for these often include experience points for leveling or an endgame currency called scripts. Again, these resemble the endgame currency for combat classes, though instead intended for gatherers and crafters. Collectibles have their own process for being made or gathered with a higher collectability, which is what they call the collectible version of quality, but are a great deal simpler than the normal crafting process we described earlier. Now earlier we mentioned that you could level any and all crafters and gatherers on a single character. With this, you're also able to borrow several skills from one crafter and use them on another to improve performance. Due to this, many players say if you want to even be efficient in a single craft, you kinda have to level them all. Square Enix tried to mitigate this by implementing the Specialist advancement. This advancement is crafter exclusive and basically gives you access to additional skills and stats in an attempt to remove the reliance on needing to level every crafter. You can become a specialist in up to 3 crafters on one character, and you can change your specialist crafters within certain constraints to prevent abusing the system. In addition to some standard specialist skills, Each crafter has one you get exclusively for being a specialist in that chosen craft. Overall, there are a couple of specialist skills that are considered highly valuable, and even a few recipes that require specialists, but the vast majority of items you craft without specialists at all, making it not as useful for career crafters as much as people who do it more casually. So the pros of crafting and gathering in 14. First of all, these classes receive attention to detail similar to the combat classes. Having multiple skills to enhance throughput or increase quality gives players a bit of skill expression and advancement, especially in crafters. You can level every crafter and gatherer on a single character, so if you're really efficient, you can take care of everything you need for yourself, saving and often making tons of gil. Crafters can also repair armor above the 100% mark so you don't have to repair it as often, as well as being able to repair it anywhere out in the world. They can meld the material onto armor with their forbidden melding, and of course they have desynthesis as well. Crafters and gatherers even gain access to several story or lore quest lines. This isn't an exclusive thing. WoW does have some pretty detailed profession quests. 14 uses their crafting in individual class quest lines, custom delivery clients, and beast tribe quests. The cons are again a mix of preference and actual downsides. On the flip side to WoW, 14 crafting and gathering gets pretty complex, so much so that players dedicate themselves solely to it. That can make it really daunting for new players to get into crafting and gathering altogether. Between leveling, gearing up, and even learning rotations, some players simply don't want to do that for their non-combat experience. Also, having the ability to level everything on one character actually does come with some drawbacks. Items often lose value in the marketplace because there's going to be a higher supply, oftentimes higher supply than demand. You'll often be hoarding way more items than other players since you can use them in all your crafting recipes. Finally, there really isn't that much unique about any of the crafters or gatherers. No recipes come as drops from bosses or monsters, and there's very few that you have to earn through other means. You pretty much use all the same skills on every crafter, and outside of specialist exclusive recipes, there isn't really much room to carve out a niche. As you can see, both games have entirely different approaches to this aspect of their games. WoW makes the process simple and easy to understand. It complements your adventure without becoming the focus of it, instead making sure that you have things like unique recipes and benefits professions provide to make them stand out from each other. Final Fantasy XIV, on the other hand, treats its professions with similar detail to their combat classes, giving them a sense of level and gear progression as well as several skills for them to learn. For the most part, it's about deciding whether you want something simple and effective or something that's complex and expansive. Either way, I'm sure you'll figure out which one is right for you. That's going to be a wrap for our next WoW to 14 video. Be sure to like, favorite, subscribe, and share, and stay tuned for more of these coming down the line. I will see all of you in the next one, and until then, take care.